Hi, this is Noah Hughes, Creative Director on Tomb Raider. Today we're going to take a peek at some of the tombs in Tomb Raider. Obviously, as a Tomb Raider game, it was really important for us to deliver on that expectation of not just puzzle solving as a mechanic, but really that sense of exploration and as you'll see today, hopefully the sense of discovery also. We have a story that starts with heavy survival themes. Lara's stranded on this island and has nothing, but we very quickly start to reveal some of the mysteries of the island. Tombs allow us to really deliver some of that sense of mystery, not just in the critical path, but sort of off the beaten path as well. All right, here we are in the scavenger den. This is actually the very first tomb-like experience that Lara encounters. So you can see Lara has a torch here. She's able to interact with the flotsam. Really, we're trying to escape this cave, and there's some explosive barrels by the exit here. But as the boxes get close to the exit, the waterfall's putting out the fire. So we need to find a way to get fire to the explosive barrels and blow our way out of this cave. But this is really just an opportunity for the players to explore some of the puzzle-solving systems. We have fire and buoyancy, but you can also see there's contraptions in the world. We can see that Lara's weight lowers the cage here, and it's connected to other elements in the world. We have a collection box here. We tried to ground the puzzles in the fiction of the space, so we have the scavengers here who are collecting flotsam and jetsam that's washing into this cave, and they're using this contraption to do it, and now Lara has to use the same contraption in order to get herself out of here. So we can light the burnable cloth, which will free up the cage and give us a greater range of motion. And now we can see that the flotsam is washing into the other side of this cage. We have a collection bin that they use to gather junk. And if we light the boxes, they'll collect in that bin now. And just like before, Lara's weight will lower the bin, but we can see now that we're able to lift that flotsam up into this final cage. And this is just an example of sort of putting those systems that you understand together in order to solve a problem that isn't immediately clear. And as we get farther in the game, we really start to deliver these puzzles in more classic ancient spaces as people expect in a Tomb Raider game, but this is really Lara's first tomb-like experience. All right, now that we've reviewed some of the key physics systems that come into puzzle solving, we'll jump back to the mountain hub here and put them to use in the secret tomb ahead. Today we're going to look at one of our secret tombs, a challenge tomb we call them. It's important to realize that the scale of this is fairly bite-sized. So we have along the story path some fairly large and involved tombs and puzzles. But today we're going to share one of these smaller bite-sized challenge tombs. So we're making our way through the village night hub here, and we're on a critical mission. But if we look around here, there's actually some markings on the wall. Oftentimes later in the game, these will be farther off the beaten path. But we wanted early on players to be able to sort of get introduced to this idea of secret tombs. So we can follow these markings in, and we realize that there's a cave that leads back somewhere. Now this is an example of our gear gating in the game. So we can try to get up here, but we're actually not able to yet. We're going to need a piece of gear, the climbing axe, which we don't have yet. So in the course of normal play, you'll often come across some of these areas that you can't get to and can later come back to with gear. So we have to complete our critical path mission here in the wolf den, and then we'll come back up to this area with our climbing axe.
Just be careful, Lara.
All right, now we've done a mission for Roth, and we've gotten the climbing axe that gives us access to new areas in the hub. So you can see this climbing surface over here, which we couldn't previously climb. Lara's now able to connect to and climb. So as Carl makes his way back up to where we had seen the secondary tomb, we can get sort of that sense that gear adds additional abilities to Lara for traversal, oftentimes comes into play in combat, but really also becomes sort of keys for unlocking spaces in the world. And oftentimes in a hub you'll come back through spaces multiple times, but they're always different, either because Lara's gained new abilities or the environment itself has changed. But most importantly, that sense that you can now, sort of through Lara's growth, gain access to anything that you want in a given hub. So we're back at the secondary tomb. We'll go inside and just get a quick glimpse at some of the tomb experiences that we have. Early in the game, we introduce some of the mechanics at play here. So we have a focus on physics coming into play in our puzzle systems. Fire is a system that's important to a lot of our puzzle solving. We introduced mass and pulleys in the first sort of major puzzle in the game. And each of those mechanics often comes into play in some of these secondary tomb spaces. As I mentioned before, it's important to realize this is sort of a little mini bite-sized example of a tomb, and we really try to deliver tomb experiences throughout the game, but also allow players who really enjoy this type of thing to find more in the world. So this is just the first example of one we'd find. Throughout the game they'd ramp and get a bit more complex, but in addition to sort of offering that puzzle gameplay, we also really like to immerse the player in the history of the island. So we can also see that this is a secret ancient space within the mountain hub, and just by assessing the area you get a little bit of Lara's commentary on the history of the island, but you also start to see a challenge, like where can we get to in this space. One of the things that's important for us is to really reward exploration. So I don't want to spoil the puzzle, but you can see through some amount of interaction we'll be able to find our way through this space and earn some goodies. All right, we didn't want to spoil it, so we've jumped ahead to the solution space. Here you'll find secret treasure in every tomb. It was important for us to not only deliver some classic tomb rating, but to also make sure that we rewarded players for their exploration. So you'll get experience points, salvage points, sometimes you'll get weapon parts that'll allow you to upgrade your weapons, and oftentimes you'll even get a treasure map which will reveal more stuff. So if we bring up our map now, we can see that Lara has actually earned some few hidden locations to things throughout the hub. But that's for a different day. All right, thanks for joining us today. Tomb Raider is coming March 5th on PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. Stay tuned to IGN for more Tomb Raider info.